Hello and welcome to Keep Right On, a Birmingham City podcast brought to you from us here at Birmingham Live. I'm Brian Dick and I'm joined today not by Alex Dickin but by a much more famous and noteworthy guest, former Birmingham City left back. I'm going to call him a hard man as well. He might disagree with that when we finally get to him and I stop waffling. But former Birmingham City player Martin Grainger, who I think was Barry Fry's penultimate signing through the door at St Andrews in March 1996, stayed for 9 years, played under Fry, obviously Trevor Francis and Steve Bruce, played well over 200 games for the club before hanging up his boots. Martin Grainger, thank you for joining us on the Keep Right On podcast. Do you accept the description as a hard man?
On the pitch, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of harder people than me off the pitch, but it's just the way I played, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Blues fans will obviously remember you for your part in the team that finally cracked its head through the glass ceiling of the Championship playoffs, got into the Premier League and stabilised, unfortunately all too briefly, in the Premier League. Martin, talking to you, obviously, because you've been chronicling your career in a book, haven't you? What finally persuaded you to put pen to paper after all these years?
Well, it wasn't. It was never on the radar to do a book. As you're going to be speaking to Rob in a little while, there's a collective group called Terrace Towers, and I think they're trying to do a few Midlands-based footballers and managers and that sort of thing. And they approached me and said, we've done a poll and you come top of that poll, would you like to do a book? And I was like, well, do you think it would sell? And if people see me write an email, you would never think I'd ever do a book. But they approached me and I said, look, if you think it would work, then yeah, I'll do it.
And how was the process? Difficult, cathartic in any way? What would you say?
I mean, it was pretty easy, but to be fair, when I was doing it with Rob, he knew more about me and I knew about myself. Because I think he referenced when we first done it, my second goal I scored for Colchester. He said, "Oh, you scored your second goal at Doncaster away," and I thought I scored my second goal against Hartlepool at home. So sort of he had to jog the memory bank quite a bit. But it was quite an easy process, actually. It was just like an informal chat.
How much do you remember of the circumstances that brought you to Blues? As I said, as Barry Fry had seemed to sign most other footballers in the country, and he finally got round to you in March 1996. You were at Colchester at the time. What do you remember of the circumstances around that, Martin?
Well, at the time, I wasn't in the Colchester first team. But what I did in the summer that year, I went away and got myself extremely fit. I wasn't the fittest when I was at Colchester, to be honest, physically. And then David Webb plucked me out of Colchester's reserves, invited me down for a week's training. I'll just go from there before we went to Birmingham, and then had a couple of good years at Brentford, and then all of a sudden we played Cardiff at home on a Saturday. And on the Tuesday, David Webb said, "I've sold you to Birmingham." I was like, okay. I was, well, can we have any discussion about this? But he said, look, we need the money. I need to sell you. So I went home and spoke to my dad about Birmingham. And he said, obviously, they're a big club, sleeping giant. I didn't know too much about Birmingham. I was like being a North London boy. It was like Tottenham and Arsenal and all that sort of stuff. And as soon as my dad said it was a sleeping giant, he said, "You got to go." And that was it. I was on my way. Went to meet Barry Fry at the Grosvenor House Hotel when he was it was the PFA Player of the Year. And he greeted me and my wife in a Dickie Bow shirt, pants and socks.
No trousers.
No trousers, sitting on the bed, trying to thrash out a deal.
Right, and presumably there was no agents in those days. Did you have someone with you? Or
I had old Monster Eric Hall at the time.
Okay.
And he'd done his best, bless him, to wind up David Webb, and David Webb said he was on the way down to London to put him in a tin of dog food. But in the end, it come down to agents' fees and all that sort of stuff. And I just said, look, Eric, we'll sort it out between us, because of what he was asking for was way too much money. And we settled on something, and that was it. I signed for Birmingham.
Yeah, indeed. And it wasn't the easiest of starts. Is that fair to say?
No, it was a little bit difficult for me. Obviously, adjusting again for another level up. Obviously, you've got another Royal up, so players are slightly better, I suppose. Facilities are better. You go to bigger grounds, bigger support, and at the start, it didn't go particularly well for me. I reference in the book, actually, there was a guy at Swindon that I think I had a run of games. I got sent off. I scored an own goal. I'll give a penalty away all in 3 consecutive games, and I was dropped for the Swindon game. And I remember warming up, and one of the supporters screamed out about, sit down, you're this, you're that, you're useless, this, that, and the other. And I just thought, I'll prove you wrong. And from that day, I sort of adapted, improved, and hopefully I'll give everything I did for the club. And I did say to him, I'll buy him a drink if I ever see him one day.
So if you are watching or listening to this, please do step forward. You might have a few.
He did reach out on social media that he said, I think that was me.
Right. And have you met him?
No, not yet. So I will, once I'm up in Birmingham again, if I do meet him, I'll buy him a pint.
Yeah, I think you'll find, Martin, if there's a pint in it, it was me. Yeah, indeed. You obviously, Barry left fairly soon after you joined, didn't he? How did you find working with Trevor?
It was a bit sticky at the start. I wasn't one of Trevor's signings. He brought quite a few people in.
Yeah.
I had to win Trevor over because it seemed like every other month he either signed a left back or signed one on loan. But I was determined. I trained to make him pick me, basically. And in the end, I was pretty much first on the team sheet. I mean, 1 year I played in every position apart from in goal, so he trusted me. That's what I had to earn his trust. Because he did reference, I think, one of the lads, one of the games, he called me a pub player on the bench in one of the games. So, and again, I had to prove him wrong, and I did that through pure effort on the training pitch. I trained how I played. Obviously, not as heavy challenges on my own teammates, but I still used to throw my head in front of the ball and put blocks in and all that sort of stuff, just because I just wanted to play.
To be fair, Martin, you're a youngish man, sort of 23, 24, weren't you, at this stage? That Blues dressing room was full of some big personalities. Were you you said you came from Colchester, you were unproven at this level. You got guys stepping into that changing rooms that have played for Man United, played for Liverpool. Yeah. How are you finding that? How are you dealing with these guys you've watched on telly, presumably?
Yeah, I mean, it improves you as a player, to be honest. And I mean, some of the things, God rest his soul, Gary Ablett used to play alongside him in left back. He'd be playing balls out to he would be left side centre half, and he'd be hitting first time balls out to the right winger without even looking. And you just think, wow, really, really good player. And you just learn off these players. And you just try and take as much in as you can, and the information they used to give you on the pitch. I mean, even Brucey, when he come, I mean, his legs probably wasn't like they were when he was obviously 4 or 5 years previous, but he centre forward used to jump and try and flick the ball, and he used to just step back, chest it, and bring it out and go and play out from the back, But it just makes you better.
So I mentioned the glass ceiling. It was 10th, I think, in Trevor's first year, then 7th, and it was a couple of cracks at the playoffs. Yeah. And as you said, people were coming through the door all the time. Why couldn't the team quite break through that glass ceiling?
I don't know. I think the Preston game, there was a bit of a ruckus at the end where the penalties were going to get taken. The Watford game, Chamberlain had the game of his life. The Barnsley game, I think it was just one of them. It was just doomed from the start. The 4, I think it was 4-0 at home, was it, or 4-1? Yeah. But I think it was just inevitable. It was going to come in the end. You think it's not going to happen, but I don't know. It's just how events roll out, isn't it? And I mean, that was my That was my 5th attempt, because I'd won with Brentford as well. So that was a semi-final failure. And then you think, oh, don't ever sign me. I'm a Jonah.
We'll come on to the Worthington Cup shortly. Don't worry about that.
Oh yeah, cheers.
Yeah. Are you? Who are you? Who are you? Did you have like a regular roommate or a best friend, or someone that you
I
hung
got
around
on
with?
really well with most of the lads, to be fair. I used to room with Percy quite a bit.
Yeah.
Great lad, obviously a London boy.
London boys, yeah. He's South London, isn't he?
Yeah, Bethnal Green boy, Percy, great lad. Jerry Gill, I roomed with him for a while. We used to live near each other in Solihull. I mean, I used to get on well with pretty much everybody, to be honest. We had all the time I was there, we had good dressing rooms right the way through, really.
Yeah. Who was the best and the worst trainer, would you say, during your time at Blues?
Oh, the best trainer.
You'd probably be up there for that, would you?
Yeah, I put myself up there for effort, but some of the stuff that he used to do in training was Brian Hughes.
Yeah.
Mesmerising what he could do, what he'd done on the training field. I mean, he did do it quite a bit on a match day, but in training, we'd be just laughing at how good that he was. The worst trainer, I'd probably go Ferdinand Coly, who's probably the worst footballer I've ever seen in a professional football club.
Yeah, he had a short and thankfully short career.
He must have. I wish I'd had his agent.
Yeah. There were quite a few misses in, transfer misses, weren't they? In those periods. But yeah, Ferdinand Coly.
To be fair, Trevor was probably one of the best players in training as well, which was annoying.
Yeah, indeed. I remember going away to Marbella, where Trevor had a house with Blues a few years ago, and Gary Rowett was having a pre-season training camp, and Trevor would never be shy in telling you how good he was at crossing the football. Yeah.
We used to have crossing and finishing drills, and if it weren't going well, he'd march out there, say, right, stick the ball out here, and he'd go wallop every time, straight in.
Yeah. What would you say of that period under Trevor before we get to into the Premier League? What was sort of the highlight for you? The
highlight, I mean, obviously getting to the Worthington Cup final.
Yeah.
Trevor was really unlucky of how things panned out, and I still don't think he should have left the club when he did. But that's down to the powers that be. But the highlight was getting to the Worthington Cup final. To be fair, Championship side, I think we beat 3 Premiership teams on the way. We had a fantastic team spirit all that year, and we was unfortunate in the final. Purely not just because of the penalties, but I think we should have had a penalty, and I think it was a 92nd minute.
Definitely.
And there's no coming back from that, is there?
No.
Really.
No. I remember I was at that game. I say at the game. I only saw the second half and extra time because the traffic was that bad. I missed all of the first half of that game, and that was probably as good as it got. How do you look back upon that game? Because obviously, there was the Liverpool goal, and then there was the penalty miss out. How do you look back about that?
Mixed emotions, really. I didn't think it was a particularly great game to play in.
No.
There wasn't too many chances. I mean, Robbie Fowler showed what an unbelievable footballer and finisher he is from the goal he scored. He wasn't even looking at the goal. He knew where the keeper was.
Yeah.
And then you get the debacle at the end where the Premiership referee doesn't give a Championship side a penalty, which was, if you had VAR today, it wouldn't even take 30 seconds to say that was a penalty.
Yeah.
In that day, sorry. And then, the penalties. I mean, that was, how long ago was that? That was
2001, yeah.
Yeah, so 24 years ago, and I've only seen the penalty miss once, and you can still see that Vesterveld, he'd come off his yard 2 yards before I'd even struck the ball, which he's done his job, but should have been retaken. But then, do you score the retake? So it's all swings and roundabouts, but...
Yeah.
It was absolutely devastating to miss. AJ, they remember AJ's more than mine because he was the last one, bless him.
Yeah, and then there's that photo of Trevor and AJ in absolute tears at the end of the game, isn't there?
Yeah, I was in floods of tears in the dressing room. In the end, Horst was laughing at me. He said, "Come on, snap out of it." But I had all my family in the stand. I was just so gutted that I thought I'd let everybody down. That's just the feeling that you have.
You'd scored in the semi-final against Ipswich, Grange, so I think we can let you off. To be honest, the next season, obviously, Trevor does leave and Steve Bruce comes in. Was it literally just that change of management that was just the different variable that you needed to get over the line?
Yeah, I think. They were chalk and cheese as managers. Bruce, he was more. He was a more rounded Barry Fry, if you like. He was more of a motivator than a coach. He had a good coach with him at the time, Mark Bowen. I think it was just fortunate that it was our time that year, and a couple of decent signings in, and the team just sort of rallied round, got together, and the win away at Millwall was massive. And I think that just gave us the impetus to go on and finally get there.
In the playoff semi-finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, the atmosphere there was like nothing else, wasn't it? I don't know if you were conscious of what's gone outside the stadium, but inside the stadium, it was bedlam as well, wasn't it?
I've never played in a game like it. I've done the silly thing when you're clapping your fans at the end of the first game to be mucking around, goading the Millwall fans. That was possibly the worst thing I could have ever done. Every time I went over to get the ball, I either got a coin thrown at me, spat on, or told me I was going to get killed.
Right, okay.
So, when the referee put his whistle in his mouth, we all run. Obviously, they all jumped over. I think Steve Vickers got punched in the back of the head.
Yeah.
We got locked in for, I think, about 3 hours. And then I come out of the dressing room and there was a guy, we were nose to nose, and he said, "Right, now I'm going to cut you." And I was like, "All right, okay, how did you get this?" I thought, right, I'm either going to headbutt you or I'm going to leg it. And then he just got jumped on by security and how he got in there, I don't know.
Right, why?
But yeah, it could have been a whole different story. But yeah, it was a really intimidating game. But in future, don't do things like that, what I did.
No,
it doesn't help.
The final, if that didn't exercise any Millennium Stadium ghosts, nothing would do. What are your memories of the final? And am I right? Did you take a penalty? I don't think
no,
you did.
But
no.
People say I bottled it, but I didn't. There is a story behind it. But the final for me at first, as it goes, it was on the telly the other day. The ball come across in my area, and I've gone with it with the wrong foot, and it's gone under my foot. So, and then it's gone wide. They've crossed it and scored, and I'm thinking, no, not me again, And then Horst gets the equaliser, gets me out of trouble, and the penalties. I turned my ankle towards the end of the game. My right ankle, my standing foot, obviously, my right foot.
Yeah.
And it was swelling up, and I was thinking, I was down to take one, and I just said to the gaffer, I said, "Look, I'm not confident. I don't want to blame it on the ankle if I miss." So I just said, look, I took myself out of the equation. I just said, "Look, no, my ankle's swelling up. I don't feel confident in it. Let someone else take it." So you could say that was good professionalism. People could say, "Oh, you bottled it because you missed one in the final." I'd take a penalty every day of the week.
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel confident in my legs' ability to hold up, maybe under pressure, maybe, I don't know. That might have been on my mind taking it, so I just took myself out of it.
It was difficult to know where to fit this into the chat about the team that went up. But you could have left for Blackburn, couldn't you? About a year before. Yeah. Now, have I got this right? That Blackburn offered 3 million and Blues wanted 5, and it would have been like a life-changing amount of money for you. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, Graham Souness offered, I think it was 2 million plus 500,000 if they stayed in the Premier League.
Right.
But the club wanted 4 million plus 500,000 because they wanted Christian Poulsen. Trevor did at the time. So that didn't happen. And a lot of the lads were saying to me, put a transfer request in, refused to play. And I was like, well, it didn't happen. I just want to play. So I asked the club to bring me in line with the higher earners at the football club when that was not so politely declined, told where to go because I had a few years left on my contract, but I thought, well, reward me for obviously not kicking up stink, staying, wanting just to play. So in the end, I just said, right, okay, I just got on with it and played. But yeah, it would have been a lot more money than what I was on.
Right. Why did you just fall back in line? Is that just who you are as a guy, or?
Yeah, I just wanted to play football. If I was ever left out, I remember this is really childish, but I remember we was away up north one game, and Trevor left me out for Simon Charlton, and they were all in up. The ones that weren't playing were over doing stuff with one of the coaches, and they were all in a circle. So I just started firing balls at them because I weren't playing, and that is really childish. But I just wanted to play every single game, and I would have played for nothing, to be honest.
Right.
It's just where I come from and what I am. I mean, even after games at the ground, I used to go in the Trevor Francis bar with my dad and the supporters and my family, rather than going into the players bar full of people you don't really want to associate with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this journey is finally, this long journey that started out in Colchester. You're in the Premiership in 2002. Your first game is against Arsenal.
Yeah.
Would you have been marking Ray Parlour that day? Can you remember?
I think it was Pires.
Was it Pires? Right. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a difficult problem in itself.
We are talking about an Arsenal team that had Ashley Cole, Patrick Vieira, Ray Parlour, Bergkamp, Omri.
Yeah. An unbelievable opener. And obviously being a Tottenham fan, so you go there. So I always used to say to my dad, I said, Dad, you get so much time in the Premier League. It looks so easy. I could play there. Oh my God. I would say I was probably up there in the top 5 fittest in the club. Wasn't particularly blessed with pace, but I was fit. I was dead after 70 minutes. Gone.
Right.
And if it wasn't for Darren Purse saving about 6 off the line, we would have lost 8-0.
Right. Okay.
But when you're getting the ball at fullback and you go into play and Vieira closes you down in 3 strides, it's just... And also, when you're going up, you're signing probably players that a lot of the Premiership wouldn't sign. I'm not disrespecting them players, but they're not improving you that much to compete against the likes of Arsenal.
Yeah, got you. Yeah. And then
it was very tough, very difficult. But that's my only bugbear. Was I good enough to play for a long period of time in the Premier League? I would never know.
Yeah. Well, you played in the. Most people don't, so you did.
Yeah.
A few weeks later, you're playing Liverpool. Of Hippier, Carragher, Gerrard, and Michael Owens, that team. And then the game after that, Birmingham City 3, Aston Villa 0, which will go down as one of the most famous games in Birmingham City history. What are your memories of that day?
Unbelievable. Melberg contributed to that victory for all the stuff we put in the paper. We'd won that game in the tunnel. We were that fired up. I think we frightened them to death. People would say, "Oh no, you wouldn't," but we won that game in the tunnel. And then obviously the crowd out, which was raucous outside as well, which absolutely spurred us along to do what we did. And I got an assist for the first goal because I kicked it out of play for the throw-in.
You didn't play as much as you wanted to in the Premier League. That's fair to say. And I think were you loaned out to Coventry at one point in that second season as well?
Yeah, that was. I was battling coming back from the first after I think the 6th game at Middlesbrough. Something happened to my patella tendon, which I had to have it decompressed. Which basically they cut you open, layer it, sew it all back together, get rid of all the rubbish that's in there. But that didn't quite work. It sort of made it weaker, and then I think it was 3 bone sleeve infections that I had to have 3 separate operations to cut out as well. So that was over a year's period. And then I went on loan to Coventry, which I loved it, under Eric Black. Brilliant man manager, brilliant coach. And then I got recalled after 6 weeks to come back to Birmingham. Yeah. And then obviously the Man United game, the rest is history.
Yeah, indeed. So people will know, but obviously you played 4 games, came back for the United game was the 4th game.
Yeah.
Opened the scoring with that free kick. Am I right in and then that turned out to be the last game of professional football you ever played? Am I right in obviously am I right in thinking you had misgivings about taking the free kick in the first place because your knee wasn't right?
Well, I come on. I think it was about 17 minutes. I think Stan done his hamstring. So I come on and there was a free kick. It was actually closer than the one that I scored with. And I took the free kick. Excuse me. And when I planted, I felt like a pop in the front of my knee. And the free kick hit the wall in the shins. It was obviously something had happened to my standing leg. And then I thought, that ain't right. So I thought, I can't go off. I've just come on. And it was literally 2 minutes after I come on. So I'm limping about. We get a free kick on, I think it's about the 43rd minute. And I'm thinking, I can't take this. Brucey's screaming at me to take it. So obviously I've took it. But if you look at, I've got a photo of my knee planted, and you can see where my knee had ruptured. There's a hole in the front, and so I managed to score. And then obviously at half time, that was it. But I said I can't. I had a bit of a moment as well, obviously, because it took me over a year to get back to where I was.
Yeah.
And you just sort of think, how can I do this again for another year? And we sort of tried again for a certain period of time, and then I sort of dragged it out for a bit because the club wasn't playing ball with settlements and things like this, and we sort of just dragged it out for another year just so I could get more money out of the club, basically.
Right. And did you know at that point that you didn't have it in you, or either physically or psychologically to
psychologically always there? I think I could go and play now,
right?
But physically, after I started a bit of rehab and you join in a bit of training and you can't actually turn because it's painful. I did ask to go to America to see Dr. Stedman, who's operated on a lot of Premiership players, because I had a similar injury to Craig Bellamy, and he went to see Dr. Stedman and he played another 6 years. I asked to go and see Dr. Stedman and I got told to pay for it myself.
Right.
By the powers that be at the football club, which I don't understand because all the players are insured anyway, medically. So, so that was that. So we did try for a period, but I played in a couple of reserve games, and it was we just knew that was it. And eventually, it got to a point where I'd had enough with the owners, and I just said, look, whatever you offer, I take, and that was it. Done.
Did you find adapting back to normal life, to back in civvies and that retirement? Obviously, you know, it's a well-worn path, isn't it, that footballers get addicted to the highs of being in the Premier League and the adrenaline rush. Did you settle back into post-retirement back into normal life?
Yes and no. It's just finding what you're going to do, because I hadn't planned for this, to be honest.
You were 32, weren't you? So you weren't an old man sort of thing.
Yeah, but that was up to that 32. I probably got another year and a bit out of the club I was only going up on a Wednesday in the end. The physio said, look, just come in on a Wednesday once a week, because we knew I probably couldn't fulfil a playing contract. The club did offer me a job, which she offered me a job in terms that she knew I'd tell them no. And who knows, if that was a serious job offer, I may have still been at the club now.
Right.
You know, but adapting wise, it was difficult because I didn't know what to do. I had a realisation. I was on a family holiday in Spain, and maybe had a little bit of a breakdown and a cry, and just think, what am I going to do now? You know. And then I used to jump into things. I worked for the father-in-law as a paint and decorator for about 6-7 years, and now I'm a train driver, and I'm as happy as now as I was when I played football.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. And your feeling about Blues? You obviously.
I love the place. Yeah. I didn't love the people that run it, but like I say, when I first finished, I stayed away for probably 4 or 5 years. People kept asking when I was going to come back, and I just felt a little bit of resentment. And that's not the supporters' fault, because I had a fantastic rapport with the supporters, and I loved them for everything. I mean, they voted me in the 150-year team, and I think they appreciated what the badge meant to me, because they adopted me as one of theirs, and that's how I treated them.
Yeah, Indeed. That was very recently, wasn't it? I think only last month.
Yeah, I didn't even know until I see it on social media.
Yeah, indeed. You certainly are remembered very, very, very fondly by Birmingham City fans for all of your efforts for the club. Martin, thank you very much for talking. I'm going to bring Rob in now, who was instrumental in helping you with the book. So I'm joined now by Rob Carlos of Terrace Tales, who made Martin's story possible, or bringing Martin to the table to write the book. Rob, tell us a little bit about Terrace Tales, please.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for having us on the show. So about 18 months ago, I've written a few books previous to this, and I'd done a couple of little autobiographies, and I really liked the process of doing it with players. So what we decided to do was I got together with a couple of people in the Midlands that specialise in certain areas that can bring books to life. So I'd got a publisher, I was working with an editor already, and, we got somebody in events management to come on board as well. So we called ourselves Terrace Tales, and we started to look at the kind of players that we wanted. What we did want straight away was, people that had played and plied their trade through the Midlands and made an impact. So we made a list of players that we were looking at. And one such name was Martin Grainger. So what I did was I went out onto social media and I asked fans, if there was a book coming out, an autobiography, who would you like? And, I got quite a lot of responses from it, with half of the people that doing it, gave me the name of Martin Grainger. So it made sense to speak to Martin, tell him what we were looking to do. So we met at a service station down south, and we went through the ideas of it. And, a year later, Martin's book has been out for the last, 2 or 3 months now, and doing well. So it's good to see.
Brilliant. I know there's more in the pipeline. Rob, we'll wrap it up there. Martin, Rob, thank you very much for your time. Martin, thank you very much for your time. It's a big keep right on and a Merry Christmas from all three of us.